Welcome, I'm your host, Jules De Vitto, and you're listening to the Highly Sensitive Human Podcast, the show that offers an insight into the world of the highly sensitive person and helps those who identify with the traits of high sensitivity to feel more empowered and resilient without denying their authentic gifts. Hi, and welcome everyone to this episode. And in today's episode, I want to talk about some key steps we can take for highly sensitive people to navigate difficult emotions. So anyone who resonates with the traits of high sensitivity is likely to feel the impact of strong and overwhelming emotions. So I think most of us who are highly sensitive can relate to this idea that we feel our emotions deeply and we do process things on a deep level. So when we have difficult life events, like everyone, we have an emotional response to that, but we can tend to feel those emotions on a very, very deep level. So these might be when we're experiencing stressful situations at home, going through conflicts in close relationships, or sometimes there's an underlying feeling of uncertainty. So for many of us over the past months, we've been going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and many of us have had to face a huge amount of uncertainty about our current situation. So sometimes we have emotions that lie underneath the surface, and there's a general feeling of irritation, or there might be a sense of frustration, which, if left unchecked, can build up, and we then experience sudden outbursts of, it could be anger or sadness or fear. So these are common emotional responses that we might have. Instead of cultivating emotional resilience, these stories, these beliefs actually prevent us from staying strong and grounded. So as a coach, I have guided many highly sensitive people towards becoming the awareness or the self that rests behind our emotional experience. So for me, this is the key. This is the key to manage and navigate these difficult experiences and difficult emotional experiences that we're going through. So this aligns with what Eckhart Tolle emphasizes in his book, If You've Ever Read A New Earth. And he shares that rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. And this is so powerful because when you become the observer of your thoughts and emotions, you create space between your true self and the contents of your mind. So this space actually enables you to choose how you respond to particular emotions and reminds you that your experiences or emotions are not the truth of who you are, but they are a part of your experience. So they're not the whole of who you are, but they're part of your experience. So the language you use is really helpful here for creating space between the emotional experience and yourself. So for example, instead of saying, I am angry, you can try saying, I'm aware that anger is arising in me. So you might be able to notice the difference there. Instead of saying, I'm angry or I am anger, I'm aware that anger is arising in me. So this just really enables you to become that observer, and it creates some separation between you and your emotional experience without denying or rejecting the emotion that is coming up for you. So another thing that's really, really helpful is to cultivate acceptance. So it's really helpful to move into the felt sense of your emotional experience rather than moving away from it. So cultivating emotional balance is not about suppressing or ignoring your emotions, because you can't force difficult experiences to go away. So what you are trying to do is actually welcome all of your emotions and lean into your experience. So no matter how difficult it might feel, remember that your emotions are what make you human, and there is a reason you have them. So befriending an emotion and welcoming it into you actually lowers the resistance you have to that emotion. So when you learn to navigate your emotions in this way, you can find a way for these emotions to actually arise and show up and support you in a healthy way. Okay, so I want to talk today about these 4 key steps. So with practice, it is possible to recognize with mindful awareness the emotions that arise in your body and then choose how you want to react or respond to these emotions. So here are 4 key steps you can use to practice cultivating emotional balance. Okay, so the first step is to be aware of what has caused an emotion to arise. So it might be something in your environment, it might be a story, a memory, it might be anticipation of a future event, and it might be a combination of all of these. So you're being aware of what has caused an emotion to arise. You're then going to notice the felt sense of this emotion in the body. So you're noticing what physical sensations have presented themselves in the body because of the trigger or the event that happened. So see if you can notice where the sensations are in the body and what qualities the sensations have. So for me, if I'm experiencing anxiety, I will feel usually a tightness in my chest or my stomach area. That's normally where I feel quite a strong sensation, so I can focus on that part of my body. The next step is then to label the emotion as something that you're aware of. So like we did a minute ago, you can say, I'm aware that there is anger arising in me, or I'm aware that there is anxiety present in my body right now. And the next step is then to breathe into the felt sense of this emotion. So you're breathing into the felt sense, and you're also observing the stories or the thoughts that are coming up in relation to the emotion. So don't try to push the stories or the felt sense away. You're actually observing them from the space of yourself, the one that witnesses your experience. Okay, so this can be difficult. This is definitely not easy. It does take practice. And also, just to point out, try this with an emotion that is not too overwhelming. So you're picking something which feels somewhat manageable. We're not going to go with the most difficult, challenging emotion that comes up for you. And if it does feel too much, then simply come back to it later. And remember that you are observing the emotion, you're not going into it. Okay, so we're still keeping this observer presence. So hopefully that makes sense. And just to mention, if you do have any questions, any comments, if you're not sure about what I'm sharing here, feel free to comment. Please get in touch. I'll have my contact details available in the episode notes. So give it a go. Let me know how you get on with this 4-step process when you have an emotion come up for you. So you can try it today, sometime this week, and please get in touch if there's anything you're not sure about. I hope this has been helpful, and please subscribe to this podcast if you're interested to find out more about high sensitivity. Thanks for joining me this week on Highly Sensitive Humans. Make sure to visit my website, highlysensitivehumans.com, where you can subscribe to the show and find out more about my upcoming workshops, my online 8-week course, and where I also offer one-to-one coaching for highly sensitive people. And if you found value in the show today, I'd really appreciate a rating, or if you'd simply share this episode with your friends or other highly sensitive people, that would help support this podcast.